Oh, welcome back, everyone. Today, we are diving deep into the sensational new trailer for the live-action Spider-Man Noir series, which has finally landed online. And honestly, I am in absolute disbelief that we are actually getting this show, because after everything Sony has been doing with characters like Morbius and Madame Web, seeing Nicolas Cage back as this iconic, gritty version of the web-slinger is a dream come true for many fans, including myself. The trailer gives us our first look at a world that feels both nostalgic and fresh. And it is interesting to note that the show will offer viewers two ways to watch it, either in full color or in a classic black and white mode, which perfectly matches the aesthetic of the 1930s Depression-era setting, where this version of the character originated. One of the biggest talking points from this trailer is the change in the character's name, because instead of being Peter Parker, he is going by the name Ben Reilly in this series. And while some fans might find this confusing, it seems to be a clever legal loophole or a creative choice to show that this Spider-Man has retired from his hero life and is living under a secret identity. The trailer also hints at a very mystical origin story, showing a young Ben Reilly as a soldier who encounters a strange spider that gives him a terrifying vision of a spider god, which is very consistent with the darker themes of the noir comics. We also see glimpses of classic villains reimagined for this universe, like Brendan Gleeson playing Silvermane, who is a powerful mob boss here, and we get a look at a very different version of Sandman named Flint Marko, whose powers in this world are more about turning his skin into a granite-like substance rather than full shape-shifting, which makes him a formidable physical threat in a grounded setting. There are also hints of other familiar faces like Cat Hardy, who seems to be this world's version of Black Cat, and potentially a version of Mr. Negative, who appears with a bright white glow. Even in the black and white footage, the action sequences look intense, especially the fight at the construction site, which feels like a tribute to the classic Spider-Man movies of the past, while some people are worried that the show might not be as dark or as violent as the original R-rated comics. Nicolas Cage brings a certain level of exaggerated energy and charisma that makes the character feel unique and engaging, and I think this series is exactly what the Sony Spider-Man universe needs right now to regain the trust of the fans, because it focuses on a compelling character with a distinct visual style and a strong lead actor who clearly loves the role. And as we see more of this world unfold, I am genuinely excited to see how they handle the darker elements of the story and whether they will fully embrace the grit of the 1930s or keep it a bit more lighthearted for the general audience. But overall, the trailer looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to see the full series when it drops on Amazon Prime. So if you enjoyed this detailed breakdown and want to stay updated on all things Spider-Man and superhero news, then please make sure to subscribe to the channel right now and hit that like button to support the content. And don't forget to leave a comment down below telling me what you thought about the trailer and whether you prefer the black and white look or the color version, because your support helps the channel grow and I love hearing your theories. So keep watching and stay tuned for more updates continuously. Moving further into the trailer breakdown, we see a lot of subtle nods to the classic detective noir genre, which makes this show feel so much more grounded than your typical superhero flick, because the atmosphere is thick with mystery and the cinematography uses shadows in a way that reminds me of the old 1940s cinema, which is a brilliant choice by the creators Phil Lord and Chris Miller, as they really understand how to blend style with substance. And when you look at Nicolas Cage's performance, even in these short clips, you can see he is bringing that signature intensity that only he can deliver, because he has this unique ability to play a character who is both world-weary and incredibly dangerous at the same time, which fits the retired Ben Reilly persona perfectly, since we hear him talking about how he tried to leave the life of a hero behind him, but the city just won't let him go, which is a classic trope that never gets old in the Spider-Man mythos. And it makes me wonder if we will see any other versions of the Spider-Verse characters popping up in this live action world, even though this seems to be its own standalone story for now. But the way the trailer shows the flashback to the war and the mystical spider bite suggests that this Ben Riley has a very traumatic past that haunts his every move. And we see a glimpse of a funeral scene that strongly implies a tragic loss, possibly his version of Uncle Ben or even a close friend, which serves as the emotional anchor for his return to crime fighting. While the gadgets and the costume design also deserve a lot of praise because the goggles and the trench coat look incredibly practical and tactical rather than just being a colorful spandex suit. And this helps separate him from the Peter Parker we know in the MCU or the Raimi films, because this Spider-Man doesn't just swing around, he lurks in the corners and uses fear as a weapon against the criminals of New York during the Great Depression. And I'm also very curious about how the show will handle the side characters, like Robbie Robertson, and whether they will have a bigger role in uncovering the corruption within the city's elite, because we see shots of high society parties where something sinister is clearly lurking beneath the surface. And this brings us to the mysterious glowing villain who many believe is Mr. Negative, because his visual contrast against the dark noir background is absolutely stunning, and it adds a supernatural layer to an otherwise gritty crime drama, which could mean that the spider god mentioned earlier plays a much larger role in the overall plot than we initially thought.